So Derek, first of all, obviously Kevin Van Veen coming in the door. You must have been delighted to get that deal over the line.
Very much so. I think obviously we weren't the only show in town trying to get him. You know, a player like Kevin's ability, you would always expect competition with that. You know, we took a bit of comfort the fact that we've been speaking to him really. Well, I have really since December, just messaging and speaking to him, trying to kind of point him in our direction. I always knew that with the current situation he was in, with his club would probably look to try and get a permanent resolution to the whole thing. And we'd probably have to be drawn out the whole of January for that to play its part. So we're always hopeful that come the last day, if they hadn't got a solution on a permanent deal, and obviously Kevin had a couple of options to go in permanent elsewhere. If it became a loan option, then we had to try and put our best foot forward, and you know, thankfully that's what it came down to. Over the course of the day, it was a tough day for us all. I think I need to applaud everybody behind the scenes here at Kilmarnock for their perseverance. As I say, it became clear it was between us and St Mirren really, and we had to go every step of the way with St Mirren. You know, every time, you know, Groningen were coming back with something, and you know, and I think that two clubs, similar size of clubs, obviously similar ambitions, and it was. We were in a fight, and thankfully, as I say, the club supported us on it, and it became both clubs agreed with Kevin, with the clubs, and it was up to Kevin to decide where he wanted to go. So I think I need to maybe quash the rumour or a narrative maybe that we threw loads of extra money at it. We never, and that's a fact. I think that we had to put our best foot forward, as I say. You know, we matched St Mirren's offer to an extent where Groningen were happy for the player to decide where he wanted to go, and thankfully Kevin chose us. We'd have been gutted if he had chosen elsewhere after the conversations and effort we'd put in, and there was huge effort from everybody in the background here at Kilmarnock. I've got a brilliant, we've got a good administrative staff ready to deal with things. We've got support for the board, and the part of Russ Richardson and all this as well, with the agent. So it was a good day in the end up, but it was a frustrating day. Nothing was happening quick enough for us, and what we didn't want to do is, if we'd lost out on Kevin, then not being able to react to anything else. So we hope it's a significant signing. You know, we're mindful of the fact that Kevin hasn't played since November. We need to get him up to speed, but there's no doubt in his quality. He's a great addition to, I think, the squad. And we're not improving the forward areas, not because we're not happy, because we've had a lot of good return from the front lads, but we are bringing Greg and Kevin into things because we want to strengthen that area. I think we've got good competition at goalkeeper, and I felt that for the start. I feel we've had good competition defensively throughout the season. A lot of good players, not always starting through no fault of their own really, just because the performance of others, the great healthy competition through midfield. But we just wanted to try and get a few different options in the forward areas, and I feel now we have that. So, but Kevin specifically, in answer to your question, great pedigree, knows his way to Scottish football. He, despite very limited appearances this season with Groningen, he still scored 5 goals and I think 13, 14 starts. And he comes here confident, that kind of talismanic figure, and I think he'll fit in with us. We normally play with front two, and I think he can play with any of our front players as well. So, you know, I think we feel fortunate we've managed to secure him, and I think, as I say, grateful to the support we've had in getting him here. But Kevin's also lucky to come into a good dressing room with so many good players, a team that's going well. It's like all the new signings in January, you know, they've came on board because they see there's a good team here, they see where we are in the league. But it's up to us now, just because we've got a good squad on paper, it's important that we just try and step on now in the second part of the campaign.
Does a deal like this just show how vital it is to remain patient during a transfer window? You know, just you have to wait to the last kick to maybe get the one you want?
Yeah, they say it's a January window, and I know some clubs get active quite quickly, but the majority of stuff doesn't get done to the last day, and it's just a game of cat and mouse, and every day normally there's a domino effect. One moves, it frees up somewhere else, and you know, so we didn't expect yesterday to be plain sailing. We were obviously trying to keep a few other plates spinning as well, and speaking to agents and stuff like that in case Kevin decided to go elsewhere or in case there was an issue. But once we'd reached agreement with Groningen late morning yesterday, you know, we were hopeful, but you're never sure of anything that we could maybe get the boy in here. So, and the fact is, you know, it not only lifts supporters, you know, it lifts staff, but you know, players. My players will respond to good players coming in. They'd already seen it firsthand. Gary Mackay-Steven training. They knew Greg Stewart from before. They know Kevin Van Veen from before, so it lifts players. And young James, another one who brought in just to try to offset with the injuries we'd had, you know, and James will do well here, I feel, with injuries to Brad and Kyle. So we've brought 4 players, good players in January. We've lost Jack, we lost Andrew Dallas. Andrew Dallas was probably the catalyst, maybe to knowing that we could do. But potentially we could do Kevin, to be honest, because obviously free up a wage there. We free up some wages with Jack. This was all, you know, in an ideal world you would keep Jack and others, but it's you're freeing up wages to try in anticipation that we had to be in a position to go for Van Veen if it came to light. So been working towards yesterday. It all came ahead yesterday, and delighted that we've managed to get the deal done, and now we just look forward to working with Kevin. Kevin's hopefully get to the pace of the game and get to the pitch of training, because his qualities are terrific. You know, we're getting Greg up to speed through a couple of weeks training after missing out, so we feel now that it's important that we try and really step on with our work on the pitch now.
You touched on those incomings like Greg and James. You must be delighted with the window as a whole, you know? Yeah,
I think when you look back, we weren't looking to do too much. You know, obviously Gary was one that was a kind of additional one because he'd done well, and we felt he would provide real competition for a lot of our wider players and creative players. James was, you know, great foot of the board with that one because we weren't looking to do anything in midfield. Because of the injuries to Kyle and Brad, as we mentioned, and then the 2 forward areas, I mean, we were looking to try and get different types of strikers in, of front players, and that was the areas we concentrated on. Getting into the window, if I didn't have the injuries, that's all I'd have been looking for, and I said that, I think, the back end of December, wasn't looking to do too much, because we were happy with the recruitment we'd done in the summer, and we could take a breath in this window, and it wasn't all panic stations, and I feel that was the case. But if I'd got one of Greg or Kevin, I'd have been pleased. You know, the fact that I've managed to get 2 different types, but both provide quality, then it gives you the confidence that, because you can react and have the kind of types of players that can make a difference in games going forward. The thing is, we were too over reliant on Kyle and Marley, and we have been. If either of those were to go down with a significant length of time, then it wasn't a case of we weren't happy with them, but the lack of strength in that area, we might have needed a bit more help. McInnes has had injuries, and you're always a bit wary of that, but we're gradually getting him back in it. He's been training now for 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So we just felt as though we needed a couple of more options. So as I say, I've got the board to thank for the support with us. But need to stress the point that we never got Kevin Van Veen because we threw more money at it to our rivals. It was purely a football decision from him.
You've obviously just touched on it there, but how vital was that support for the board throughout the full window with all the deals? Yeah,
I mean, I think that these conversations are always ongoing. You know, I mean, you're speaking towards as you're heading towards the window, and you've got conversations about what you would like to do. You know, I mean, it's not always, you know, what you can do and what you want to do is 2 different things a lot of the time. But you know, we did feel quite relaxed up until Brad got his injury. Gary, we felt, was worth it because he'd shown enough that maybe we could, on a short-term deal, a deal that wasn't going to bust us, could be a good option for us, and the board supported us on that. And obviously freeing up some wages to try and look at the striking options were clear that we had to try and manoeuvre one or two things. But there's no doubt that getting that real support from the board is really important for any manager, and I'm grateful that every step of the way, and particularly yesterday, we matched and we moved forward with what we had to do.
And away for transfers, obviously you had a bit of a milestone in January. That's you 2 years at Kilmarnock now. How do you reflect on those 2 years?
Yeah, obviously it's went pretty quick. I think probably up and down a wee bit. I think we recognised there was a lot of work to do when we first came in, and getting the team up. And the summer last year was really stressful and difficult. The season in itself was difficult. I thought the final kind of quarter of the season was, you actually started to see maybe a Kilmarnock team more of what I was looking for, really. I think signing Big Vass in January certainly helped us. We leaned on with experience a lot. With two signings last January, young Luke Chambers and Vass, played a huge part in us staying up, and the spirit and the togetherness of the team. So there was a huge sense of relief, but the relief doesn't last very long. It's like you knew we weren't going to put anybody through that again, and I didn't want to get through it again, and it was a case of we had to get so busy in the summer just to get the work done. And I've said this before, I think 9 days before we're due back for training, we had one defender signed, no goalkeepers, and it's hard to enjoy a holiday when you're getting back to that. So we had to get a lot of work done in the summer, and it's full credit to the squad that you see now. When you actually look at it, people just see the signing, but there's the amount of work that has to go into each and every one of those. There's so many people involved administratively and the board wise, and certainly with Russ Richardson and his team. So it's not always easy, because sometimes we've got a lot to offer players. I think the level, but I think sometimes it becomes easier to recruit players when you've had the back of better seasons, and hopefully we can have a strong campaign this season, finish it, and that in turn might help us again for the summer going forward with whatever changes. But we won't need to make the same amount of changes this summer as we have done in certainly last season.
When Russ Richardson came in, you said at the time he'd be probably your most important signing. Has that proved to be?
Well, he is for me. I mean, nobody really knows him. He works in the background, but these Russ and those types at clubs are so pivotal, because it's too many wrong at recruitment, particularly if you need to spend money. I mean, obviously we've spent money on Lewis Mayo. We've asked the club to commit to that, and they were good enough to do it, and I think that's paid dividends. His value now, Lewis, is way beyond what we paid. But all it takes is to get a few right at recruitment, and you can, all of a sudden you've got real value on the pitch. We didn't have a lot of, if any, real value on the pitch when we first came in. We had good players. We had players that did the job and they were brilliant for us and all the like. But in terms of resale value and proper assets, I think we have now. I think we've got that now, and it has to continue that way, getting younger ones through, and development, getting a good age in the squad. There's still a place for experience, and we've seen that. But 4 of our front lads are in their 30s. And I do think having experience in certain areas is key. So we're really pleased. I think at the minute we're a wee bit playing with fire defensively, and that is to be said. Obviously Corey's suspension hasn't helped matters. Deezy's facial injury hasn't helped matters, although he's in the day and he's looking good, and hopefully we can get him back before too long. So it's we had a decision made whether we still went for Kevin Van Veen, or did we go and get maybe another defender that would maybe help relieve the kind of imminent kind of concern on that side of it now. But if you've got a chance to bring somebody like Van Veen to the club, you've got to take it.
And just finally, how is the squad looking for tomorrow?
So Corey suspended, Deezy out, Brad out, Kyle McInnes out, everybody else fit and good to go. So unfortunately Kevin never trained with us this morning. He had paperwork to sign late on at Groningen that end. He had to then have a 2-hour plus journey down to the airport this morning, so he's in with us this afternoon. He'll turn his legs over, he'll speak to you guys, and he will then prepare for the game. But he's not met his teammates yet, but we'll prepare for Motherwell tomorrow. We've got a big week for us coming up. A tough game tomorrow. Motherwell have clearly improved. I watched their game with St Johnstone last week. I thought they were the better team. They were unlucky not to come away with 3 points. You know, we're going to have a job in my hands to get the points tomorrow. But you know, I was really pleased with the 90 minutes we had here against Motherwell. I was really pleased with maybe first 45 minutes and then at Fir Park. But we all know how that played out, and it's important that we put together a real strong performance to try and get the job done tomorrow.